Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We cover everything Major League, from spring training to the World Series. We've got your favorite club covered, from New York to Boston to LA. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
Thank you all for tuning in to the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Evan Worley. Happy Tuesday to all of you out there. I hope you had a great weekend. I know I had a great weekend, just chilling with my family, chilling with my friends, watching these games. My Gophers got absolutely obliterated on national television for the second straight home game, which was not tight. But with the follies of our offensive line and losing our entire kicking game, which is rather important, kind of led me to believe that was going to happen. I had high hopes that we would be able to, return to form and really make a push at the playoff, especially with the great recruiting that our coach has done. But it didn't turn out too well for our guys against Michigan. We will bounce back, though. I guarantee it. But my guarantees are kind of like a Charles Barkley guarantee, so that doesn't really matter. But take it to the bank. Bet on it. You know what to do. Go. Hammer the Gophers. Big Ten West champions. Maybe. Possibly. Probably not. But it's going to happen. Guaranteed. But yeah, we had insane I'm talking insane baseball happen. We saw the craziness that was Game 4. The most wild ending. I think that actually led to a great decision. When they had why is Dave Roberts still trusting Kenley Jansen? And he's used Gratterall for 1 out, pumping 100 with some sink, and then goes to Jansen, and Jansen's got 92 with a flat cutter, and expected him to get out of it, and he almost did. To be fair, he almost did. But once it got to the top of the lineup, I don't know, man. You got to be able to just close that door. And Jansen, I don't think he has it anymore. I really don't think he has it. I think Gratterall has to be has to be the one that you go to late in games. And at least he went to somebody else late in the game yesterday. I was driving home from a friend's house, so I didn't get to see the ending of it. It looked like it was Blake Trinan who closed the game out for the Dodgers yesterday. We are off to Game 6. Game 6 will be tonight. I'm wondering if it is actually going to be a bullpen day, and they're saving Walker Buehler for Game 7, because that would actually be, that would be the smartest move. That would easily be the smartest move. Okay, let's go schedule. I'm on ESPN.com right now. Let's see if they have released the info for tomorrow. Blake Snell versus Tony Gonsolin. So they have a bullpen day going tonight at 8:08 Eastern time. It's gonna be an incredible game, an absolutely incredible game. And one thing that I think that is gonna be a little bit it's going to be kind of picked apart, I think, is going to be, Manuel Margot's steal of home, which I loved, by the way. That was one of the, for me, as someone who likes to play aggressive baseball, who likes to put pressure in the highest pressure of situations. Like my favorite team to win a World Series of the past 20 years was the Royals in 2015. The 2015 Royals, hands down, was my favorite team to win a World Series because they are built exactly like this Rays team where, you don't really have a ton of big name stars. Like, you have like Kevin Kiermaier and Alex Gordon. Let's be real. They're two of the same. Gold Glove level defenders, can make plays when they're up to bat, but they're not, they're not like over the top kind of talents that you would blow hundreds of millions for. You have, Randy Arozarena has done things. Excuse me. He's done things that, no one's done in the postseason. He has the most homers of a postseason stretch. He has the most, hits of a postseason stretch. It's going to be, he's the guy. He's like their Eric Hosmer, let's say. Eric Hosmer had pretty much every clutch hit imaginable for the Royals during that playoffs. Let's go to Sal Perez, trying to find a relatable person to Sal Perez. Probably Brandon Lau, sorry. Brandon Lau is sick. He's really, really good. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, when he's on, and he's someone that they have to take care of. But one thing that I think that's hurting the Rays is the Rays aren't fighting against the shift as much as they should be. Like, with Brandon Lau having the entire left side of the field open is it's, I don't know what Kevin Cash is thinking. I really don't understand what Kevin Cash is thinking at all. When Brandon Lau isn't Mo Vaughn. He's not a guy who's hitting 50 homers a year and is slow going down the bases. It's not like the guy's David Ortiz. He's a second baseman who has a lot of speed and potential. If the entire left side of the field is open for him, have him take advantage. Who cares if he's in the 3-hole? If there's a runner on first and the third baseman is playing double play depth at shortstop, and you bunt that ball, you hold that top thumb tight, and you push it down the third baseline, you could easily get a double out of that. Easily, you could get a double out of that. Easily. I'm not even going to say probably. It's easy that you can do that. And, I get that it's not the sexy play. It's not the liner in the gap. It's not the debilitating. People don't think it's debilitating, but it is. It absolutely is debilitating. If you tell me someone, because of a shift, somebody bunts and gets a double, now you had, the potential double play opportunity with no outs, and now you have second and third with no outs in a World Series game. Just because he didn't rope a ball 105 miles per hour off the bat doesn't mean anything. All that pitcher's going to think about is oh, I didn't even make a mistake. I was on it, and now I'm in this messed up situation. Because what more do you guys want? And I'm talking to baseball. I'm talking to the people of baseball. What more do you want? Why has small ball been completely just completely wiped out of the game? I get big homers are sexy. I get that Max Muncy home run was exciting. Max Muncy has been exciting to watch. He might be the World Series MVP when this is all over. Which I personally don't think he should, but just because he's taken advantage of a few mistakes and, has drawn more walks this postseason than anyone ever has, and that includes 73 homer Barry Bonds. To think that Max Muncy has been pitched around more than 73 homer Barry Bonds in a postseason is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe it. But still, like, the Rays have to take advantage. The Rays have to absolutely bunt the ball down the third baseline. Bunt the ball where they're not supposed to be. It's like, I was talking to a friend the other day, it's like basketball. Attack the basket, suck in the defense so they can clog the lane when you attack the basket. Then there you go, you have your three-point shooters wide open. Oh, you can do that easy kick out for a corner three now because the defense is more like, okay, he's going to attack the rim to try and get a layup. If you're bunting the ball in these situations to where these players aren't, they have to play there, or else they're not getting any outs and they're going to lose the game via bunt. Just bunt the ball. I don't think it's really, like, you can hit a curveball that's coming at you at 80 miles per hour, and you can drive it down the line. You're telling me you can't catch it with the bat? It's already out there. Just do it. It's not that difficult. But anyways, back to the steal-a-foam. I loved it. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more. It has happened once in the past. It was 2015. Carlos Gomez of the time, he was on the Houston Astros, and in an interleague game, and I think it was like the middle of the season somewhere, and it wasn't like the playoffs, but when Clayton Kershaw does his big, like, pick up his hand, bring it down, and just wait, that's all about timing. That's all about, all right, let me get a feel for everything, let me get a feel for the grip, whatever, let me breathe it out, and then he put pressure on him to make an actual play, and he did. Manuel Margot did the same thing. When he did that, he took off. No hesitation, no surrender, just took off. And, he was out by a legitimate hair. Because that was almost a review, but it barely got his glove on the mitten. But, I think that should have been done more. Because with that, he's so focused on just trying to feel his balance, you know what I'm saying? Just really get geared up and ready to go, and then he could step off. And then, when you're in that moment and you're trying to, really get yourself, stay in your rhythm, and someone throws you off your rhythm, it's really hard to make a play. Even if you're a pitcher and you just got to step off and throw it home. Like, when you're balanced, you're in your rhythm, and then something gets thrown off and you have to react very quickly and do everything dang near perfect because you got a guy streaking down the line at 20 miles per hour, trying to score the tying run. That was a huge, huge play by Kershaw. It wasn't a mistake by Margot. Absolutely not. And he just went for it. I mean, you see how speed affected, the game in Game 4 when Randy Arozarena was going around third, and then he just happened to slip. But he was going so fast that Muncy had a bad throw because no one was talking. They wanted to get it home. And then Will Smith didn't catch the ball because he was trying to do a quick little tag because he knew coming around third with a full head of steam was Randy Arozarena, and they weren't going to be able to stop it. So speed definitely kills. It has in the past. Like, let's flash back to the 2015 Royals. It was that play with Eric Hosmer. Eric Hosmer streaking down the line, and Lucas Duda has to make a quick throw home. And, Lucas Duda isn't really praised for his defense. So he put pressure on him. And he's like, all right, if you're going to get me out here, you're going to have to make the throw. And you're going to have to make a damn near perfect one. And he did. It was, not then. Then he threw it away. But I'm talking about in this situation with Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw, he's streaking down at 20 miles per hour. Like, he has to make a perfect throw for this to actually, be an out. And he did. He made a great throw. He made a great play. He got out of an incredibly tough situation, And, it completely flipped the game for him. His location was off. He wasn't really doing anything that was too spectacular. He had his curveball he was leaving it high. But, the Rays still weren't able to get good wood on it. So, it kind of saved them. And then, it's just right after that was the turning point of the game. Like right after that throw, it all kind of flipped, because I think that was in the fourth inning. That was in the fourth or fifth inning of the game. And then the next inning, he gets, 2 outs on 2 strikes? And then he gets pulled out of the game, which is a complete other story, which, we will get to. We will get to that in the next segment. But, that decision, that play was Kershaw's kind of revenge. And he has another, and I know why they took him out, which we will get to in the next segment, like I said. And he's going to get another opportunity to come back into a game this series. Like, if the Dodgers are winning tomorrow, you bet Kershaw's going to be in. If they're winning in the game on Friday, and they have to take out, or not Friday, on Wednesday, and they have to take out Walker Buehler, you bet Clayton Kershaw is going to throw in that game. It's Dave Roberts. Whether you think that's a good play, a bad play, or you're just indifferent about it, it's going to happen. There's something about insane loyalty with Dave Roberts that has hurt him in the past, and it might kill him in this World Series. It might be, the final straw, the pull of the guillotine, to just be like, all right, Dave, we've had enough. Like, you're out as Dodgers manager. If this goes south and they do not win the World Series this season, I don't think Dave Roberts is going to be there. I feel like Dave Roberts will most likely be in Boston next year if they don't get this World Series. But who's to say? I thought that, the Rays were going to run away with this World Series. They haven't. We will get to Tyler Glasnow later in the show. I thought that their bullpen wasn't going to be able to stack up against the Rays. Their bullpen is arguably outpitched the Rays. They've come up with way more clutch hits. I'm still waiting for the one World Series team to realize that Jock Peterson cannot hit something that is slow below his belt, because everybody tries to test him with a fastball up and away, and he just smacks it to the opposite field. I mean, we've had 4 World Series. We've had 5 whole playoff runs of Jock Peterson. 5 full playoff runs. And you still don't understand that anything like below the belt and off speed, he's not going to hit for a homer. He's only hitting the fastball above the belt out for a homer. We still haven't caught on to that? Who knows? Maybe we will in the future. All right, everybody, I'm going to be taking a quick break, and I will be right back to talk more about Dave Roberts and Clayton Kershaw.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
All right, everybody, so let's talk about Dave Roberts. So, he took the ball away from Kershaw last night after 5 2/3, after giving up, or having 2 outs on 2 pitches in the 6th inning, to bring in Dustin May, who came in for the weird 5 outs. So, he got the out to end the inning. He got the entire next inning, and then the first out of the 8th inning, just to bring in Victor Gonzalez. So weird. It is weird. So like the way that he uses the bullpen is weird and unpredictable, but this time I think it's actually the right way to do it because he doesn't have a third starter. So you bring in Dustin May, sorry. I don't know why I keep calling him Derek. Who is Derek May? I'm going to Google that right now, actually, because I have no idea who Derek May is, and I keep calling him Derek May. Okay, so let's go Derek May. Who is that? Is that even a person? A musician? He's just Derek May for now on. This is ridiculous. I can't keep up with that. So they put in May for 5 outs, who is electrifying. Absolutely electric. I love Dustin May pitching because he has 100. It moves. He's got the big league lettuce. His facial hair does need some work, but he is super energetic and super passionate about the game, which is something that I really love. One thing is we can give Dave all the flack in the world, and we do. Man, we give him a lot of heat for everything that he's done pitching-wise because he is the king of leaving pitchers in for way too long or taking them out way too early. He has never really found that true sweet spot. Clayton Kershaw was the absolute king of getting left in situations where he should have been taken out. I can't even tell you how many times, Matt Stairs, Matt Adams jokes were made because, they left him in too long. They pulled a Pedro and left him in when he was clearly out of it. Because, for Clayton Kershaw in his early days, he was really good for about 100 to 105 pitches. But once he hit that 105 pitch threshold, you have to get him out because he drops off fast, like a roller coaster. It's just straight downhill. And nobody saw it come. They saw him strong through 100, 105, and they just kept him in. And then he gave up the ridiculous blast because, it's a playoff game. Normally, if Clayton Kershaw is on the mound, he's facing off against another big-name pitcher, kind of like an ace, Waino back in the day, Tim Lincecum back in the day. Those level of pitchers. Very rarely did he face the guys like, who the Braves were pushing out, like Chris Medlin, or, even to I guess a little better extent, Tim Hudson. But, he's always up against the ace. So when he hits that threshold where, he starts to go down quick, he gives up the game-winning homers because the games are close because the other teams could always manage pitchers better. And Dave saw this coming. He said, we're getting 21 outs. So 5 2/3. I thought it was a good move. It was 21 outs or 21 batters. I think it was 21 out. No, 21 batters because there's only 27 outs in a game. That'd be 3 innings. No? I don't know. 21 outs. We'll go 21 outs. So yeah, he went to full 21 and they got him out of there. Did he look good? Yeah, he looked incredible. He looked like he had figured it out. But he was at 85 pitches. And this is an older version of Kershaw. This Kershaw's had so many innings. Remember, he's pitched late into the postseason every season since, 2013? He's been in the postseason every year. He hasn't been hurt since the turn of the decade. And he's not there anymore. He's there. He's absolutely there. He's not going to push you, to complete games anymore. He's going to be the Barry Zito. He's going to be the Cole Hamels. He's going to be the late, Roy Halladay, where, he's an ace, but an ace that's only going to take you through 6. He'll give you 6 solid, but you better get him out after 6. And that's finally what they're doing. And I actually applaud Dave Roberts for what he did. At first, I had the same reaction that everybody else did. No, this is stupid. Why would you take him out? But then I thought about it. This is Clayton Kershaw. tomorrow's game, or tonight, sorry, because you're hearing this on Tuesday. Tonight's game 6 is a bullpen day. He is not throwing today, but the bullpen is going to be worked hard. So game 7, you have Walker Buehler, if necessary, might I add. You got Walker Buehler. Imagine a game where you could trot out Buehler, Joe Kelly, Gratterall, Jansen, and Clayton Kershaw. Imagine that. Even, if it is a lefty-lefty matchup in the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs, you better believe Clayton Kershaw is going to get that ball. And he deserves it. He absolutely deserves it. Especially after, the findings of 2017 and 2018. It's exactly what happened with David Price, where David Price came in late. Or what was it? Was it David Price or was it Chris Sale in 2018 who came out late and closed the series out? In 2019 when there was a closeout game and, they needed the final, the game to be closed. When the deciding game is on the line, you were seeing Max Scherzer and it wasn't even a question. You were going to see Steven Strasburg at some point. That was not even a question. They throw their best pitchers out because guess what? You have the next 6 months to rest. Well, actually not 6, it's more like 5. But 5. You have 5 months to rest your arm and get back and get treatment. And, get warm, get loose, get ready for the next year. It's going to be great. And what I overreacted for sure. That was easy. That was an easy overreaction by me. Especially, it's easy to say that in hindsight because, they got the win 4-2. If someone would have goofed it and, really if they would have goofed it and lost the game, then it would have been oh, you see, Dave blows it again, but they got the job done. And not to mention that I also forgot that they pulled Julio Urias early, because Julio Urias is going to throw a lot tonight. I keep switching this up, dang it, tonight, because they need him to throw tonight. They need him to come out and be able to pump. Because it's hard facing Tony Gonsolin. It's hard facing Dustin May. And it's hard facing Julio Urias. You know what's harder than doing all those individually is doing them all back to back to back. You have Gonsolin who isn't, he doesn't chuck the hardest, but he's got some very good stuff. When he played the Braves, he, for the most part, was shutting them down. And then you go up with Dustin May where you just rear back and fire that bad boy as it's cutting in on your hands on a righty or cutting away from you from a lefty. And he even has that slider that can just break in towards the left-hander's back knee. He's doing a great job managing the bullpen. And then you got Julio Urias, who, let's be real here, has never pitched better in his entire career than what he's doing right this very moment. Now, I'm not the biggest Julio Urias fan, but as a spectator who is separating the person from the play, he has been unbelievable. So they're going to need him a lot. And if they can rely on those 3 arms to get him through the majority of the game, and you can save Kershaw, you can save Jansen, you can save Trinan, you can save Gonzalez, Kelly, these type of guys, along with Walker Buehler, you have an incredible lineup for Game 7 that, let's be fair, if they come out in Game 7 the way that, Buehler came out in Game 3, it's over. It is absolutely over. And I truly feel like that will be Dave's retribution for how he handled 2017, because 2017 was horrible. He handled it so bad. Granted, it was probably not his fault. It was probably the executives upstairs that were telling him, hey, we paid a bunch of money for you, Darvish. You better pitch him today, even though he has been the most garbage of all of our pitchers. And we have Alex Wood, who in Houston, while they were currently trying to steal the signs, only gave up 1 run. I can't even believe, I could not believe that. As a Braves fan, we had Alex Wood, and he was good, but he wasn't one run against one of the best offenses we've ever seen in the World Series, while simultaneously they're trying to steal their signs with a video camera type good. And then Dave just sits him down for Game 7. And let's be real with Clayton Kershaw. Let's go back to Clayton Kershaw on this one. This postseason, he's been awesome. He's 2-0 with a 2.31 ERA this World Series, and he's 4-1 with a 2.93 this postseason. While before this year, he was 9-11 in the postseason with a 4.43 ERA. So he's dropped his ERA complete 1.5 points. He's only lost one game the entire postseason, and he's been borderline untouchable in the 2 World Series games that he's played. He's going to get the ball again for all you Dodger fans. And trust me, if Kenley Jansen does, it will be in the 7th inning, where it absolutely should be. May came in and did. They're saying that they're riding May so much because they see him as the next big starter. They see him being like a number 2 with Walker Buehler, which, let's be real, I don't think that he will ever be a number 2, mainly because the Dodgers are going to go out and buy pitching left and right. Let's just call a spade here. But he throws triple digits. He's got his sinker just disappears. He's 23 years old. He can get a little too amped. He can absolutely get a little too amped. And he just gets super wild in the postseason. But, he came in to get Kershaw away from Manuel Margot, who had the walk and the bunt single. And, he retired all 5 batters, 2 on Ks. And, one of them was a 101.5 mile an hour sinker. The fastest pitch of his entire career, according to StatCast. Roberts gave Dustin May a heads up before the game that he was going to play a big role in Game 6, which is why they took him out and didn't let him ride the rest of the game out. Because he's coming in. Dave Roberts has confirmed it. And he's going out, and he's going with him. Tony Gonsolin, we got Dustin May. I expect to see Julio Urias. If not tonight, then tomorrow for sure, if there is a game. It's going to be a good one, guys. Game 6 has been a lot of fun in the past, too. Game 6 was the David Freese game back in 2011? 2010? No, 2010 was the Giants. 2011 was David Freese. You had, what was it? You had the Mookie Wilson, it gets through Buckner's legs. That classic moment. Carl Yastrzemski, where he's pushing the ball fair on that homer down the line. One of the most iconic, pitch it. One of the most iconic just experiences ever. You have that. Game 6 is just fun. Game 6 is a lot of fun. And the fact that we have Blake Snell versus a bullpen is going to make it even more fun. This is the most pressure that the Rays are going to face. And this is also while simultaneously being the most pressure that the Dodgers have to face. Every pitch means so much to both teams. Every single pitch is the most important pitch of the game. And how does that not get you so excited? How does it not give you goosebumps? It gave me goosebumps right now. I cannot wait. And the fact that, not only that, but I want to see what Randy Arozarena can do. Randy Arozarena has been the best postseason hitter of all time this postseason. And it's actually a statistical fact. It's not even a fallacy. You have him and I just wonder how they're going to pitch Muncy. I'll get to Muncy in a second, but man, I need to know how they're going to pitch Max Muncy. Is Cody Bellinger going to make another play? Is this where Mookie kind of steps up? Because let's be real, like, in this World Series, like, of the NLCS, Mookie was number one. He was the man. He was absolutely the best player, hands down. He changed the game every single game from 6 to 5, 6, and 7. In games 5, 6, and 7, there was one play that went to Mookie Betts that he made, and it completely crushed the spirit of the Atlanta Braves. And in this series, he hasn't really been that guy. It's been Muncy. It's been Corey Seager. Is Mookie Betts going to come out and really just take over and win the title for him? Because if Mookie, let's be honest, if Mookie comes back and has a hell of a day and Seager and Muncy struggle, I could see Mookie winning the World Series MVP, even though it clearly should be Seager or Muncy, because they're just, they just happen to be breaking records. And then you see Justin Turner out at third base, just playing some of the most elite third base I've ever seen. It seems like every wild pick he's just coming up with, it is remarkable. And he's killing it. I honestly couldn't believe it. And the fact that we're coming up to a Game 6 when it is easily... we are 24 hours away from the most electrifying words in all of sports, and that is Game 7. But before we get to Game 6, and quite possibly Game 7, let's talk about Game 5, which is what I'll do right after this break. I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Alright, everybody, and we're back. So, before we start talking about Max Muncy, because we have touched on him a little bit before, and you know how great he's been throughout the series, one major surprise that I know everybody is surprised about that we need to touch on is just how ineffective Tyler Glasnow's been. Tyler Glasnow looks borderline like shell-shocked. He looks scared on the mound in the World Series. Like, I've never seen Tyler Glasnow look terrified until today. And he just looks scared. Normally Tyler Glasnow's up there and he knows he's the best pitcher that any of these guys are going to face. Hands down. It's not even close. But, he's leaving pitches hanging. He's doing things that, Tyler Glasnow normally doesn't do. And when I think he's letting the moment come to him, and not letting it come to him, he's like overwhelmed by the moment. And you can tell, it's very easy to tell. He's overthrowing his already 99 mile per hour fastball. Like, hey man, your fastball touches 100. Like, why are you overthrowing it? You shouldn't be, because it's great. You have a great fastball. And then, next thing you know, he rears back and leaves the fastball right down Broadway. Well, not really right down Broadway. It was belt high on the outer portion of the plate, and Max Muncy happens to hit it at 111 miles an hour, 434 feet. Absolute ridiculousness. Like, Max Muncy and Jock Peterson are really two of the same. Muncy cannot take a ball to the opposite field unless it's a high ball that he's hitting over the wall. It's just not happening. You know, if I feel like situational hitting has been down, and especially in the World Series, it's just like, okay, you hit a homer or you're not doing anything. And that's really all of it's been. Really, that's all it's been. Is hit a homer or nothing, or strike out or ground out. There was a ball that he could have driven to the opposite field right through the hole where, you know, the shift was, with a runner on third base, with 2 outs, but instead Muncy throws the barrel at it, trying to pull it, and hits it directly back to the pitcher. Like, I saw that and I was like, man, Max Muncy, you cannot tell me that this is the elite hitter of the World Series. Like, you cannot tell me that. And then you look at the numbers, and it's like, oh my God, he is the most elite hitter in this World Series. Let's look at some of the numbers. So, you know, his regular season wasn't great. He came into the postseason and has just completely flipped the switch. In 17 games, he has a 461 on-base percentage and has scored 12 runs. That is not a small sample size, my friends. In the postseason, after he slumped in the regular season, it's ridiculous. There's something about these Dodger teams where they can just flip a switch. Everybody on this Dodger team is going to have a contract until they choose to retire. And that is an absolute fact, unless there's some catastrophic injury. But Max Muncy, you know, going from a guy who got cut from the Oakland A's to getting, you know, a low-level, like, farm contract to one of the most feared and dominant hitters in the World Series. How does that happen? It just came out of nowhere, and he is doing everything that he was supposed to do, and way more. He's hitting .389 in the World Series with a .522 on-base percentage and a 1.133 OPS. A .522 on-base percentage. It's unbelievable. And this guy is rolling over pitches that are low and away. Like, you would think that this dude was just... You'd think he was the best player in the game. By the way he's hitting right now, you would think that Barry Bonds... Who's that? It's Max Muncy. No, it's the most incredible thing to look over. In Game 4 on Sunday, he drew a walk and singled the third... Or he singled in the third, 109 exit velocity, and connected for a homer in the fifth. So in his first 3, like, he's just launching everything. It's unbelievable. What I'm doing with him is, and like, that's the funny thing about Muncy now, is you have to completely dot up low and away off speed for him to actually miss the ball, because apparently with the way that he's been walking, his eyes are too good for you to, you know, really bait him with some like off speed low. And if you leave anything up, boy howdy, are you making a mistake. It's incredible. Corey Seager has had one of the best playoff runs in the history of baseball, and the main topic of Dodger baseball is Max Muncy. I can't You can't make this stuff up. In his walk on Sunday, that was his 20th of the postseason, tying him with Gary Sheffield for the second most in a single postseason, only trailing Barry Bonds' 27 in 2002. Max Muncy, who 3 years ago, he was released by the A's in 2017 and spent the entire season just working his swing mechanics back. He spent the entire season of 2017 working his swing mechanics, and then 3 years later, he's the most unstoppable hitter in the World Series. I honestly cannot believe that. It's crazy. Now let's go for the sake of the Rays, and just to stop talking about the Dodgers for a quick second. Let's go back to Tyler Glasnow. Tyler Glasnow in the World Series. Oh, this is his whole playoffs. Where is it? Oh, no. What the heck? Where'd it go? But let's go. Okay, fine. For argument's sake, let's go to the whole playoffs. Tyler Glasnow's whole playoffs ERA is 9.64. He is oh no, this is the World Series. God, stupid baseball reference. Why do you do this to me? So he's had 2 starts. He has a 9.64 ERA. He's pitched 9 innings, giving up 9 hits, 10 earned with 15 Ks and 9 walks. His whip is almost over 2 at 1.92. Let's see, so win probability added by a pitcher is negative 0.32. His championship win probability as a pitcher is negative 12%, the lowest on the team. So if you add Tyler Glasnow, the way he's pitching right now, to any team, they have a 12.5% chance, worst chance of winning that series. And that goes for the whole pitching staff. There's not a single pitcher. Let's see. There's Shane McClanahan and Ryan Thompson. McClanahan has thrown 1 inning, and Thompson has thrown 2.2. Those are the only pitchers who have an ERA below 2. So you got Nick Anderson, he's got a 6.75. Diego Castillo's got a 3.3. You got John Curtis as a 2.7. Fairbanks, 6.75. Josh Fleming, 6.75. Glasnow, 9.6. Aaron Loup, 9 flat. Charlie Morton, he's got a 10.38. Blake Snell's got a 3.86. And Ryan Yarborough's got a 4.5. The total ERA for the Tampa Bay Rays is 5.93. The fact that this Dodger offense has been able to take this team to have a 5.93 ERA when during the regular season their ERA was at a 3.5 is unbelievable. Tyler Glasnow had a 4.0 ERA, which is very high for Tyler Glasnow, but still, like a 4.08 ERA. Nick Anderson had a 0.55 ERA in 16 innings. In 2 innings, he's given up. How many runs did he give up? They didn't even show how many runs he gave up. Gosh darn it. But let's go hits wise. In 16 and a third innings, he gave up 1 more hit than he has in 2 2/3 innings in the World Series. Diego Castillo, he has 2 innings. His whip is higher. His ERA is obviously higher. Let's see how many walks he got. He's got 2 walks in 2 innings when he had 11 walks in 21 innings. Good gracious. Let's go Aaron Loup. Aaron Loup's got 2 innings and gave up 2 hits. We have Aaron Loup right here. In 25 innings, he gave up 17. Let's see, 4 walks. He's got 2 walks in 2 innings, 4 walks in 25 innings during the regular season. The bullpen, the strongest part of this Rays team, has not delivered in the World Series. And I don't know if that's just props to the Dodgers, or if that's just like the Rays just not win, like the Rays just giving it up. Because the Dodgers they have one single game where they've scored less than 6 runs, and it was last night against, surprisingly, Glasnow. The Dodgers' run totals have gone 8. Sorry, they have 2 games. My bad. So they have 8, 4, 6, 8, or 8, 4, 6, 7, 2, or 4. Sorry. God, why is this hard? But anyways, you get the point. They're just not delivering. The offense has been incredible. They've flexed incredible eyes from the dish. Like, they're not chasing anything. They're putting together incredible at bats. Like, Max Muncy's batting average is 400, Jock Peterson 250, Edwin Rios, he doesn't have anything, but right below him is Corey Seager, which is what I was looking at, which is a 471. A 471 in the playoffs. In the World Series, actually. Justin Turner's batting 364. Like, this team is just putting together great at-bats. Corey Seager has an on-base percentage of 609. We saw what Muncy's was. He was at a 5, what is it? A 5.22. Jock Peterson batting 400 with a 455 on-base percentage and a 700 slugging. Jock Peterson is slugging higher than Max Muncy. He has a higher slugging percentage than Muncy. Corey Seager has a higher slugging percentage than all of them. And you go up with Austin Barnes. Austin Barnes has a 400 slugging percentage. Cody Bellinger's at his slugging percentage is looking decent. Mookie Betts hasn't really done anything this post. Like, he's got a 227 batting average. Kike Hernandez, I don't know why they're not playing him more. The Dodgers have completely just picked apart the Rays pitching staff, and it's been absolutely unbelievable. And I think it all starts with Max Muncy and just the way that he's been able to absolutely control the lineup, and just their inability. Really, you can just put it as their inability to pitch to lefties. They have not been able to pitch to any lefty not named Cody Bellinger, and even then, he's hurt and still was able to take Tyler Glasnow yard. I can't really believe it. But who can pitch to lefties? The guy who is going to be on our free agent focus, and we will be right back to break that down right after this break.
Want to know the latest in soccer? Then listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. From MLS, the World Cup, and the Premier League, we've got you covered. The latest updates, the hottest matches, and news on the league's top players. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
Listen now.
Alrighty, so you all know how we close out the show. That's right, people. It is free agent focus. So, we've gone after, JT, Trevor Bauer, George Springer, DJ LeMahieu, and naturally, next up, and I say naturally because he just made waves for talking smack about the Yankees pitching staff, it's Marcus Stroman. So Marcus Stroman is without question going to be the second starting pitcher off the board. I think everybody's going to be diving in for Trevor Bauer, and whoever does not win the sweepstakes for Trevor Bauer is going to push all their money to Marcus Stroman. I think Stroman is going to wait and try and get more money than Bauer. I don't think he will, but he could get more money than Bauer, or he could just say screw it and, just bite at the first offer that comes by. It could pretty much lead to anything. So I have I have seven teams that I think that Marcus Stroman could be going to. Granted, that is a wide net, but I don't see any other teams, really vying for him. And if he does go to a different team, it will be quite the shocker. Now, these are a lot of your same teams. It's a lot of the same teams. Like, both New York teams are in here, but, we have to keep going with these. They're all free agents. They're going to go somewhere. But there's one team at the end that we have not mentioned as, someone who's really looking on the free agent market for a superstar that, I read a few articles and they're saying that it is albeit small, but it still is a possibility that he ends up there. So we're going to start off with the team that he started bashing already, and that is the New York Yankees. So I don't think that Marcus Stroman will end up being a Yankee. I just want to put that out there 100%. I don't think he likes the Yankees. I don't think he would ever want to be a Yankee. Going to Toronto, he's had his fair share of hate, and knowing Yankee fans, if Ken Griffey, if they made Ken Griffey Jr. hate him, then I think everybody could have a reason to hate the Yanks. 100%. So, when it comes to the Yankees, I don't think that Marcus Stroman will ever be a Yankee unless they throw him Garrett Cole type money, which I don't think is going to happen. I really don't. Let's go on to the White Sox. So I think that the White Sox are losing Dallas Keuchel, or he's coming off the books this year. If Dallas Keuchel is a free agent, then that's huge. I do think that they will make a big push for Marcus Stroman, because I do think Marcus Stroman is better than Dallas Keuchel. But if Keuchel is still on the books for next season, then I still think that they will go after Marcus Stroman. I just don't think they will offer him as much money as he necessarily would like. Stroman, he is the big game guy. He has thrown in the postseason before. Like, let's not forget, he threw in the 2015 postseason for the Toronto Blue Jays and did very well against the Texas Rangers. He's thrown in the postseason multiple times, and he's done a very good job in those games, really controlling them. He's been to the World Baseball Classic. He pitched the closeout game of the World Baseball Classic and was borderline flawless. So I could see why the White Sox would be going after him very heavy. He has the experience to pair with Giolito and, Dallas Keuchel, if they're able to bring him back as like a top 3 of the rotation while they're waiting for Kopech to come back. I think that could be a lethal starting rotation. But they also have Alex Colomé and, some other guys that they got some real high priority in-house guys already that they need to keep in-house. Moving on, we have the San Diego Padres. Now, the Padres did go out and get Mike Clevinger. They do have Chris Paddock, and they do have a superstar in Lamet. It seems like Lamet's on the rise and Paddock's on the fall. You know what sounds cooler than having Chris Paddock as your number 3 starter? Having Chris Paddock as your number 4 starter. And if Marcus Stroman could go out to San Diego, I do think if San Diego goes after one pitcher this offseason, it should be Marcus Stroman, because he's a West Coast kind of guy. He lives over in the West. He has, he's done very well in those stadiums, like I said, with the World Baseball Classic and such. If you pair him, if that's your 1, 2, 3, and you could go 4 strong in the postseason, the way that, how you can go 5 strong with Zach Davies too, your whole starting rotation looking like that, the Padres could easily go in, and I think that they could take the reign of the Dodgers away if they were able to go in with that starting five. I don't think it's actually even close. I think they could actually do it. I would expect the Padres to be a legitimate threat to pick up Marcus Stroman off the free agent market. And moving on, we have the Atlanta Braves. So the Atlanta Braves, I've been vying for them to go after Trevor Bauer, obviously, because we've had so many issues with our starting rotation. There was some good news. It looks like Mike Soroka has been, he's been rehabbing effectively and to the point where he could be back by opening day 2021, which is after an Achilles tear late in the year to only miss like 6 months. That is unbelievable, but also I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't want them to rush him back. Take it slow as slow can be with him. So picking up somebody like Trevor Bauer or Marcus Stroman this year is going to be pivotal to how the Braves perform this season. To pair him with the good young pitching that we have coming up, and some of the, if we're able to keep Felix Hernandez and, maybe if Cole Hamels could bounce back, the Braves will be in a great position to actually, make a push in the postseason once again. Moving on, the Angels. So the Angels, it's the Angels. They go out every postseason. They start buying up players. I've heard rumors of Didi Gregorius. I've heard rumors of Kike Hernandez. I've heard rumors after rumors after rumors, all related to the Anaheim Angels. They're not the best at getting their guys. I think they struck gold with Dylan Bundy last year. Adding a big name ace to that staff is going to be huge because they had one of the best offenses in baseball, but they still couldn't win any games because their staff was so poor. This could be big. They could offer a lot of money. I say that, the Padres are one, but number two, if he's going just for the money, I think that the Angels are a big contender. I would say the number 2 team to get him easily, I would say, is the Anaheim Angels. Now, moving on from the Angels, you have his current employer. I use current in air quotes because free agency has not started yet. The New York Mets. Now, we all know why the Mets are a contender. They're going through the buyout situation, to change ownership. Whenever a team changes owners, they go out and try and, throw money around left and right. It seems dumb, but, it is what it is. And, with the Mets, they need another pitcher. They've seen what Marcus Stroman can do. He's seen what their organization is like. I don't think that he's going to want to get locked up long-term underneath that kind of, umbrella of, what's the ownership going to look like. But you never know. You really never know. They could throw a ton of money at him, and we'll see what happens. This team, the last team on the list that I've heard kind of slight rumors about, is the Seattle Mariners. Now, the Seattle Mariners, they have Kyle Lewis. They have Kyle Lewis and Kyle Lewis. So they need everyone to be good. They have Kyle Lewis, Kyle Seager. Their pitching is far from subpar. I don't know why that there are rumors that the Mariners are trying to go after Marcus Stroman, but I consider this a 0.0%, 0.1%, 0.10 more zeros, so 11 zeros in total, 1% chance of Marcus Stroman going to Seattle, but that is still a chance, and that is still a rumor, and I am going to be the one to report that. So take that for what you will. All right, everybody, that is going to be our show. I will be back on Friday with a brand new episode. Enjoy your week, enjoy your families, and be sure to enjoy the last game or two of baseball, because it's going to be a very long time before we get it again. You can follow me on Instagram at EvanWorley23. You can play me in Tap Baseball if you're bored. The nickname is EvanWorley23, and I would like to thank you all for listening to the GSMC Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I would like to ask you to please remember to subscribe to the show and write a nice review, because it really helps us out. And also, if you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, thank you all, and have a great week.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.